Hey, good Thursday morning. It is August 25th. This is around your 10 a.m. update on what's going on out in the tropics as we continue to track a couple of things. The National Hurricane Center is still tracking two waves for potential development in the next 5 days. You can see there on the screen those two areas. One is way out there near the coast of Africa. No really need to worry about it right now. It has a low chance to develop in the next week or so, in the next 5 days or so. We'll watch it long term, but the one closer to home and in the Caribbean islands, to all of our viewers down there in the Caribbean islands, this one doesn't look like a big deal, especially in the next couple of days. Now, it is a well-defined tropical wave, and this is really the best it's looked all since we started tracking it a couple of days ago. But notice, just now moving over the islands, it's past Barbados, getting into the Caribbean, and it already looks like it's trying to weaken some. Now, the reason for that is this is not in a good environment right now. Now, the wind shear is fairly low, but there is a tremendous amount of dry air. Anywhere you see those orange colors, that is dry air, and it really surrounds the entire system all the way from the eastern side of it to the western side of it to the northern side of it. That's where all the dry air is. So that should keep this thing from really blowing up into much of anything as we go through today, as we go into Friday, and probably even into Saturday. It's not going to look like much more than what it is right now. And it may actually start to look a little bit worse because some of that dry air will get pulled up in it, I'm sure, and not really allow it to blossom into much of anything. So although the wind shear is low right now, there's a ton of dry air that's going to be in the vicinity of this thing as we go through at least Saturday, the way it looks. Now, on its journey, the next 5 days, taking it through the Caribbean here as it makes its way west, it will eventually start to encounter less dry air and moderate wind shear, or kind of a neutral wind shear. So it may have a better chance to organize as we go into this weekend on Sunday and near Monday it's south of Jamaica. And on Tuesday, we're talking 5 days from now, it's in the western Caribbean. And notice it moving it off toward the west. So that's what we'll be watching for the next 5 days. Also notice through the next 5 days, it's not in the Gulf of Mexico. So through this outlook, nothing's going to be in the Gulf, or at least this is not going to be in the Gulf of Mexico. And we don't have to worry about it just yet. Now, long term, we're talking into maybe Wednesday or Thursday. It tries to get into the Caribbean or into the Gulf of Mexico. So it is one thing we're going to have to watch in the long term. But for now, it's not in the Gulf for at least the next 5 days. Of course, once again, one of the big factors in the near term is going to be that dry air. And you can see there on our models here, not a lot of wind shear. You don't see any of those wind barbs, but look at all the dry air surrounding it through at least Saturday. Now, by Sunday and into Monday, look at how the dry air erodes and you get a big pocket of moisture in the Caribbean. That could allow it to organize some. There's also going to start to be just a little bit of wind shear towards the beginning of next week. We're talking Sunday and Monday. And you can see it with an upper level low over the Greater Antilles here. There's Cuba. There's Dominican Republic. And that upper level low right in here is going to put a little bit of wind shear, especially on the northern side of that wave. We'll see what that does, but that is just a little wind shear. And then into Monday and Tuesday, there's the big pocket of moisture in the Caribbean, and this is when we may have to watch it to try to organize somewhere in this part. Now, the reason it's so vague right now and kind of that's such a big circle I drew is because, well, there's still so much unknown on how this wave is going to develop and evolve once it's in the Caribbean. This takes us through Tuesday of next week. So once again, plenty of time to watch this, not an immediate threat to the United States. There's a bunch of different scenarios that could play out here. Once again, you're looking at the GFS in Euro. The GFS is anything in red. That's the American model. The European model is anything in green. Notice they both show not much going on through Saturday. By Sunday, maybe we try to get a little bit of spin consolidating down there, but not a lot. And notice even the GFS, the American model, has it already moving into Central America by Monday and then not doing much. And then it has actually kind of another part of a wave or moisture trying to develop. So there's just a very messy forecast into the middle part of next week. Now, with all that being said, this part of the Caribbean, the northwestern part, this takes us into Wednesday of next week, is going to be the primary location we're watching for any development that could potentially get into the Gulf as we go into the middle and end of next week, so into Labor Day weekend. There is quite a bit of guidance outside of our what we call deterministic models. What you're seeing here, there's guidance models, all those spaghetti plots that do show that low pressure there's at least a chance, medium chance, that it tries to develop in this part of the Caribbean by the middle of next week and then potentially lift into the Gulf somewhere. It's way too early to really speculate where it might go beyond that, but that's what we'll be watching into next week. Long time to watch this. We're still in our yellow zone here of 7 to 10 days. If it ever approaches the United States as something tropical, we've got over a week, and it would be more like into Labor Day weekend, which is more of like 9 to 10 days away. So long time to track it for you. It's no immediate threat, but it is getting into the peak of hurricane season here. And anytime you do get a disturbance in the Northwest Caribbean, and if the conditions are right, the shear is low, there's not a ton of dry air, you really do have to keep an eye on it. Last time we had a storm 53 days ago. That is quite rare. It was Colin. It existed on July 3rd, but ever since then we have not had a named storm. We've certainly enjoyed it, but we're in that rare kind of territory of it being very, very inactive. And while nothing is an immediate threat, we will be watching some long-term things in the next 7 to 14 days. So in the next week to 2 weeks or so. But that's going to do it for our Thursday morning tropical update. Looks like things are going to remain tame for a little while longer, but in the long term, that's 7 to 14 days. Definitely going to be keeping an eye on a few things. Thanks so much for joining me.